Welcome, welcome, welcome to Rise and Shine. I am the consultress, Alissa, here to riff with you and wax philosophical and all things business about today's evolutionary times and what's up for some of the best people on the planet. My job is simply to curate the most amazing people and conversations that I come across in my daily life and open them up to the rest of you to be able to have access to what happens in closed rooms. You know, this is an age where we need to all connect. And so I am blessed and honored to have with me Rachel Anzalone this morning. And she is a satisfaction strategist. And I've got a whole lot to say about that, but I want first, Rachel, welcome and tell us a little bit about what that means.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you this morning. Got my coffee in my giant Yeti mug. I'm ready to go.
She's Yeti'd and ready. Okay.
Yes, Yeti'd and ready. Oh, that's good. I like that. I am a satisfaction strategist. So what that means is over the last 20 plus years of working behind the scenes inside businesses of brick and mortar entrepreneurs, large corporate entities, and then more recently in the last 8 to 12 years in very small online businesses, a lot of work with health and wellness practitioners, holistic practitioners, life coaches, personal development, speakers, authors, etc. What I found is that there are all these external goals that everyone is working towards, and even when those goals are achieved, there isn't necessarily a sense of feeling satisfied with those results. And so I believe that life is all about feeling satisfaction, feeling pleasure, enjoying the process. And so I've sort of come up with what I think are the keys to feeling satisfied by balancing the time, the energy, the effort, that you're putting into sort of these different areas of your life, including your business, including your personal life, including the impact that you're having in the world.
Isn't that so friggin' fascinating? I'm going for the grand pursuit of business. I'm going for these goals. I'm excited. This is what I want. And decisions sometimes are based on wonky things. But that sometimes that kind of overwhelms and overtakes a person, especially an entrepreneur whose identity is very, very ingratiated in their business, and then the feeling of satisfaction eludes them. I think that it reminds me of the stick versus the carrot, right? That I'm always going to something that I can't reach, or else I'll get all the repercussions and all the self beating of
flagellation.
The head. Yes, flagellation. That's the word. Word nerds unite. High fives. But yeah, I love that the satisfaction piece is that, if you're not having fun, what are you doing? And if you're not enjoying the process, or the results, even if the results aren't bringing you closer to your definition of success. I see this all the time with my clients saying, I want to, do this next evolution of my business. I want to scale, or I want to whatever it is. And okay, why? And taking them through that process of, okay, that's great that you want that. Tell me more. Like, what does that look like for you? And asking them to open it up. And a lot of times, I don't know do you find this, that it feels like it's an implanted decision about what they think they should want?
Yeah, absolutely. And often what they really want is opposite of what they think they want, which is where in the entrepreneur space, it's so interesting because, and I feel like this has evolved. I feel like it's shifted a lot in the last handful of years as some sort of more leadership has evolved in the realm of feminine energy and feminine leadership. But historically, I feel like so many people that I worked with, interacted with, the goal was to increase top line revenue. That would be sort of the objective goal, would be like make more money, grow the business, et cetera. Need hire more people, grow at whatever cost. And if you really sat down and had a conversation with the founder, with the CEO, with the entrepreneur, what they really want is more free time. They want to be paid, maybe for the business to be making more money, but that's because they think it's going to pay them more money. And that's not necessarily the case. And so just depending on what your motivations are, the best thing might be to scale back, and you may find yourself with more time and more money in your pocket by working less and having a smaller business. I think very often people are chasing the thing they think is going to solve the problem, but they haven't really even identified what the problem is.
Yeah. And I find that takes collaboration.
It does.
So often I have been able to see other people's mess and kind of help walk them through question at a time. What do you really want? What does that mean? Like open-ended questions, not like, fill out this form and then we'll move forward. But divining that clarity with someone and holding their hand, because I'm unattached. I don't have an agenda necessarily for where they're trying to get. I'm here on the side, and usually, we've talked before about like I'm helping people who are interested in real estate investing and people who are already doing the act of being an investor, and they put on the identity, and then but that's not all that they are. So sometimes those competing priorities muddy the water so much that it's like, no, I just want to make $3 million this year. How? And I think the bottom line is I have the fresh perspective to see it through their mess. But when you're in your own cloud of mess, is it hard to find that beacon of, where am I going again? And what am I aiming at? It just, can you speak a little bit to that?
First, I just want to say, I love you that you used the word divining. That makes me so happy. And also as you're talking, like, oh yeah, this is why when we spoke a month or so ago, it was like, we have so much in common. We're so much alike. Cause yes, to all of that, same. And divining, the reason that word is so exciting to me is because it removes us from the mind of like the intellectual analyzing. And what I find often when I'm talking with people is that I can ask these questions and we can kind of work through the things, but what will happen is there'll be something in their language that stands out. And it'll be like, okay, let's go back. You said this. What did you mean by that? And then when we dig into that, we really get to the heart of what's going on. And it's not about the numbers on the paper, and it's not about filling out the ideal customer avatar. And it's not about, it's not all that stuff. It's like, there's an essence to that person that they're looking to express, and they think they're going to express it through whatever means of their business. And sometimes they're just like, I'm not on the right path, and you can't tell you're on the wrong path. You need somebody to kind of point it out to you. Like you said, that what's really important to you is quality time with the people in your life that you love, but how you're showing up in the world is you're working 70 hours a week and you're exhausted all the time. So let's get to the heart of that.
So tell me about your experience with this kind of process. You sometimes, like, going through our own personal transformation uniquely qualifies us to turn around.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, I've been there, maybe like a little bit ago, and I've got some information for you. So how did you come to this as a discipline?
It really was by accident, as so many things are. I, was kind of, I would say, directionless. I was sort of like on this path in my early, graduating from high school. I went to art school. I just wanted to be creative and have this experience and live this sort of life that I imagined an artist would live and be making and creating. And then that bumped up against the need to make money. And, coming from a family where I really had to support myself. And so I would go in the opposite direction. So my experience has been this pendulum swing often, where it's like, I'm fully over here in the creative, the free spirit, the, kind of going down that path. And then something hits and it's like, oh my God, you need to focus. You need to work hard. You need to get the things done. And I would swing far back in the other direction. And I think that's probably the pattern that really led me to where I am now, is this swinging of the pendulum. And knowing that like being fully in, freedom, creative expression, everything that's there, there's something missing there for me. Like I need to be pursuing something in a different way. And then finding myself swinging in the other direction and being like, well, that's not it either, until sort of finding this place in the middle. And it's not balance. I'm not a fan of that word, but like the pendulum swing gets smaller. And that's what I think most of us are trying to get to, is like, not that there's this place where we have this perfect organization of family and business and personal care and sort of all of those things, but that we get to choose, like, this week I'm focusing on family. And so I'm not gonna, hustle in my business. And now, I have this project I want to work on in my business. And so my family needs to understand that this is where my attention is going to be for the next 30 days. And so for me, I did that dance between, working really, really hard, pushing myself, burning out, going in the other direction, investing in self-care, learning holistic wellness, fully immersing myself in that world. I am a workaholic by nature or nurture, I'm not sure. But I found myself like as a holistic health practitioner, burning myself out, taking care of everyone else. And so, so for me, it's been this sort of dance, and a lot of it has, getting to where I am now has been about really letting go of those external expectations. That like, I'm on my path, I'm on my own timing, I'm going to focus on the things that are important to me, and letting go of sort of what I see everybody else doing.
Yeah, like we were cut from the same cloth. It felt like, as you were talking about the pendulum swing, I'm seeing like our first thrill ride is getting in and riding on a swing, right? Just sitting there and like pushing and seeing how far you can go, and how like terrifying it is to look at the ground way beneath you and realize you're not on anything. You could fall, if you stop motion, you'd fall flat on your face from that point, And I think everyone is looking for the middle, but I wonder how many people are looking for stillness in that homeostasis, to have a really great swing and momentum and, dip into the creative and then pop out and do that logistical drive pursuit. And then, but feeling that stillness, I think, is also part of the puzzle here that I really heard you say is I became aware. I was able to sit in that space of like, here's what I'm after, and here's what I said that I wanted, and they don't equal each other. So now I have to courageously take a pause and say, what's missing, or what's here that I need to take out? And that awareness and that set point of stillness, I think, is really crucial, because, you get on the swing and you go again, but after a while, you kind of want to get off the ride and say, okay, is this still something that's enjoyable for me? And I too have gone, headlong into pursuits and then burned myself out and needed like a month of self-care. And I then when I was doing the self-care, gave myself shit for doing it because I wasn't and these are the things, like, is this very human of us? Yeah.
100%. I thought it's interesting what you said about the stillness, because I do think the stillness is part of it. And there's I don't think what we perceive, like true stillness doesn't exist. Even in what we see as stillness, there's still movement. Right. And so I don't know if you've ever done like any, like you could meditate every day, and maybe in that meditation, you find like a moment of stillness. Right. But like there's also in that meditation, or in day-to-day from meditation, you can find different answers. And I think sometimes we get attached to there being like a right way. And that if we just figured out the right way, this is one of the things that I'm like vehemently fighting against in the world of online marketing and online business and so many things. And actually, I heard somebody say this on a podcast recently about some health and wellness things. It's like, if somebody's telling you that there is an answer, if there is a way, run like hell, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest thing, I think, for us as people, is like, we want there to be a way. We want there to be a right answer. But it just doesn't, the world doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for when someone is saying there is the way, that the context isn't for all people. That, that kind of the world that we live in of too much information, and we need much more curation, is that we live in a world of opposites. Self-care and workaholic are synonyms in some cases. And it's weird to like reconcile that. But if that is your homeostasis, then it's right for you. So when someone's out there messaging, this is the way to do it, maybe the context itself has to be clarified first. Like, it's not happening for everyone in every situation. This is the thing. To meditate, you must hold your fingers like this, close your eyes and hum. It's not for everybody. Some people do it laying down. Anyhow, but I think that you're right to call out that when someone says this is the way, like I am the guru and I know all there is to know. Yeah, that is
a good sign to ask a lot of questions, because it might be the way that works for them. It might be the way that works for a lot of people. It might be the way that works for you, or it might not be.
Yeah.
There's so much nuance. I think that's what's missing a lot, is the nuance.
And that, my dear, is the world that we are evolving directly into.
Yes.
When I say we're in evolutionary times, we've been brought up in this industrialized mentality of, you start here, you do this, you do the next thing, you do the next thing, and then boom, you have a product or you have a finished thing. And we were mentally raised to do this by the way that we go to school and the things that we do and the checkpoints that we have. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? This age that we're in has so many of the assumptions, so many of the givens are now being reviewed. They're up for discussion. They're up for questioning. What does a happy marriage look like if the dad isn't going to work 60 hours a week?
Yeah.
What does working from home look like if I get to reclaim some of my commuting time, but yet I feel more distracted than ever before? There's so many variables that I'm an economist at heart. That's what my degree is in. Where is it?
That degree right there.
But when you look at the world of assumptions, the only way we can have meaningful dialogue is to make to grab that there are certain things that are given, right? In this conversation, the thing that's given is we're not here in adversarial relationship, we're here in communion. So different product is going to come out because of that context. And when you shake up the context, and there's no certainty around the way things will look in the future, or looking at how have things worked personally for me in the past, culturally for my community, globally for the human race. I mean, can you see how many variables have been reintroduced to life that were always just like, no, that's the way that it is. This is the time, because it's so disorienting in ways, but that's where all of the opportunity lies. And that's where we get to make choices, and we're aware that we're making choices. How many times have you heard somebody say, well, I just had to do it? Did you have to? Or was it something you chose to do because it was really important to you? Like, it's
right.
And I'm a word nerd. I want to be very specific about how these words are being used, because in context, it could mean something vastly different.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great point, that there's so much nuance. There's so much context. The value of the context is overlooked often. And we like for things to be a simple, clear path. And this is where I think at the heart of this is where we started. This is this context of feminine leadership, of recognizing that there's nuance and leading from the nuance, which means there aren't hard and fast rules that apply for everyone. And that the context in those variables, to take those into consideration, are the most important thing in order to grow in a way that's aligned and authentic and creates satisfaction, and isn't just, rotely following rules that came from someplace else that don't align with who you are.
Yeah, we're breaking the rules of breaking rules.
I love it.
Yeah. Because do you know, that we're old, the rocker mentality of go against the grain, do your thing, but it
Yes.
felt really rebellious. Now, in context of feminine leadership, it feels really thoughtful and really
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a thoughtful rule breaking. It's a nourishing rule breaking. Oh, I love that. That's really good.
Yeah, so I'm not right. That came directly out of I don't know where.
Yeah.
So I will take full credit for saying it, but not this genius happened because of this collective that you and I just established here, and all of our past experiences, and our, we're divining wisdom right here. So I want to thank you for being here with me, for having a really amazing, engaging conversation about so much value in the context of how this new evolutionary times are being established and built right now by the individuals, by the people who are out there doing business and creating value, and by the people who are willing to have uncommon conversations. So thank you so much. Where can people find you out there on the interwebs?
On the interwebs. My website is rachelanzalone.com. It is an Italian mouthful. Sorry about that. We'll have to put it in the show notes. And you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Anzalone. And yeah, those are probably the two best places to connect for sure. Right. Thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah. Super fabulous. And until next time, friends, every Monday morning Eastern time, whether it's standard or daylight, or if we're even doing that anymore, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, you can find Rise and Shine right here on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@theconsultress. Oh, no, there's no the in there. Woo! Just @consultress. It's in my tag. Anyhow, it's been a beautiful pleasure here to talk to you this morning. And if you want to come find us, it's in the show notes where you can come and connect. Thanks a million and see you soon.